Hey everybody. If you lived in the Southeast, or if you live in the Southeast, I hope you made it through the storms okay yesterday. Looks like we got another round coming today. Pray to the Father that He will keep you and keep you safe and keep your property and undamaged. We have to trust that He's going to handle all that. We're going to pick back up in our Bible study in Matthew 7. And I think it's this section here, the first section of 7, is in my personal opinion is a very, very misunderstood section of the Bible. I know we've all been told, do not judge lest ye be judged. Okay? But Jesus clarifies some of that in the actual judgment part. Now, we're not judging anybody to heaven or hell. We don't have any control over that. The only control over heaven or hell you have is your own. Either you're going to go or you're not going to go. Either you're going to follow the narrow way or you're going to go through the broad gate. You know, it's up to you. It's your choice. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can pray you into heaven, and nobody can pray you into hell. It is totally on you what you do with that. But the first section of Matthew, and it says, do not judge. It says, judge not, that you not be judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. And all he's telling you right there is whatever you give out or whatever harsh judgment you give is what's going to come back at you. Now, is he talking about judgment to if you're sitting on a jury panel? No, he's not. He's talking about self-righteous judgment is what he's talking about. And there's a lot of self-righteous people in this world who think their back porch doesn't need sweeping off when it's pile full of crap. Just being honest. That's just the nature of judgment. He continues with, the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. So however much you give is what's going to come back on you. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? So what he's telling you is that little bit of sin, maybe your brother went to the bar or whatever, but you go and chastise him for it. You know you shouldn't be in there, and that's not heavenly, and that's not godly, but you cheating on your wife. Might want to consider that before you start pointing fingers. Or can we say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, and look, a plank is in your eye, in your own eye, hypocrite. He's telling you not to be hypocritical. If you've got some nonsense going on in your life, if you've got a bunch of sin in your life, you don't have any room to go talk to somebody else about what's going on in theirs. You've got nothing. Keep your mouth shut and get your own stuff cleared up first. He said, first remove the plank from your eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Did he tell you not to judge? He said, judge not, and you be not judged. What he's telling you there is, at the first part of that, is if you've got sin in your life, you can't go tell somebody else about theirs. That's what he's telling you. That's what Jesus is telling us. It says, first remove the plank from your eye, then you can see clearly to remove the speck from your own brother's eye. Do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. Both of these were considered insulting terms. And they refer to people who are enemies of the gospel. An unbeliever, hopefully, is somebody who doesn't know. Somebody who does know and then just outwardly ignores what they know is an enemy to the gospel. He goes further. Keep asking, keep seeking. It will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds. To him who knocks it will be opened. If you're seeking the Lord Jesus, he will be there. What man is there among you, if his son asks for bread, you will give him a stone? That's pretty self-explanatory. Or if he asks for a fish, will you give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. For this is the law and the prophets. We've all heard of the golden rule. Give out, reap what you sow. What was the other term? I can't remember what it was now. But they all mean the same thing as this. You know, Jesus tells us the meek will inherit the earth. He's also telling you right here, therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophet. You reap what you sow. Karma, that was the other one. Karma's slightly misunderstood. Most people, I heard somebody say, well, karma believes in resurrection. Yeah, part of karma does, but most people use the term karma to mean reap what you sow. Now, I try not to use that because it's associated with the Hindus, which is a pagan religion. But in that small verse, or in that small word, a whole lot of different meanings there. But most people, when they say karma, they're talking about reaping what you sow. If you give out good vibes, good things will happen to you. If you give out bad stuff will happen to you. How many of us have ever seen that? I mean, how many times have you seen somebody who's just nasty and vile, and they're the first ones to go, well, I don't understand why this is happening to me. Well, you might want to take a look at what you're doing, brother. You might want to take a long, hard look at what you're doing. He finishes up with this. Enter by the narrow gate. Okay? For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And there are many who go in by it. Now, if we go back to the parable of the sower, only about 25% of the people are going to make it to heaven. 1 out of 4. Now, I'm just basing that on what the parable of the sower, but it may be less than that. I mean, nobody knows. Because narrow is the gate, and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. Few. Enter by the narrow gate, for the wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. He's telling you right there, look, if you want to get to heaven, your path is about this wide. It's narrow, it's treacherous. The path itself is not treacherous. The journey is treacherous because you got all this stuff coming at you on either side. I've always likened it to those narrow hiking trails up through the mountains. You got this little old winding trail you going up to see a waterfall or whatever. My wife and I went to Tennessee last year and hiked up this trail to go see a waterfall. Beautiful, but the trail was small. And it was tiny. There were bears on it. You had this little old thing to get to this waterfall. Beautiful waterfall at the top. But broad is the way that leads to destruction. That's like you standing on the beach and looking at the ocean. You can have all this. But when I get you about 2 miles offshore, I'm going to drown you. Because that's what it is. He continues. This goes back to not judging. Everything he's talking about right here goes back to the first section that we read, judge not lest ye be judged. For what judgment you judge, you will be judged. You will know them by their fruits. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. How many of you have known somebody who came to you meek, nice, sweet, whatever term you want to use, and in a little while you quickly found out that there was a whole lot more under there than what they were giving out? We've all had those people in our lives. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from the thorny bushes or figs from the thistles? Even so, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Either you're a good person or you're not a good person. But and I think, let me finish this before I get into that. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by the fruits you will know them. Now here comes in this. How many of us know good people, but they're not saved? They don't know the word. Or you know people that you go to church with, and at 1 o'clock they're sitting in a bar drinking a beer, eating nachos. My wife and I saw this one day. Eating nachos, drinking a beer, talking about, man, do you hear what that pastor was talking about in church? And I went, wow, okay. Then you're asking yourself, well, how do you know that it was there if you weren't there? We were there. Hey, we don't we don't run around self-righteous here. We all got baggage that we're trying to get rid of. But the difference is, after being saved at 11 years old, and I ran for so long, I've said this on here numerous times, I finally came to the conclusion of, when he deals with you, he's going to deal with you, and if you don't handle it then, he's done. And I went, okay. Time for me to do something different here, because what I'm doing ain't working. So yeah, we were there. We saw him. Were they bad people? I don't know. I didn't know them personally. But how many of us know good people, but they're not saved? So are they bad fruit? Well, you either have one or the other. There's he's a good person, he's going to heaven. No, not really. If he's not saved, he's not. If he didn't believe that the Lord was crucified, if Jesus was not crucified for your sins, and you believe that he was resurrected 3 days later after being in the belly of the earth, and he was resurrected 3 days later, If you don't believe that, if you don't believe he's your Savior, you're not going to heaven. Period. But in that caveat, we go through a baptism, which is a rebirth. It's a symbolizing of a rebirth. And then you got to stop doing all the nonsense. You got to stop doing all that other stuff that was in your life. Would you rather stand with God and be judged by the world, or stand with the world and be judged by God? Those are your two options. There is no third. You either got A or you got B. That's it. There's nothing in between. Stop acting like there's something in between. Oh, well, I'm a really good person, and I gave that homeless man $5 the other day, and it made me feel good, and all that stuff is great, and I'm doing all this other nonsense that I'm not supposed to be doing. Well, that's great. I'm glad you helped the homeless people, because we're supposed to do that. Regardless of what they do with it. Regardless of what they do with it. We've helped homeless people before and seen them 10 minutes later walk out with a case of beer in their hand. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that? I could get mad, and I was a little bit to start with. My wife looked at me and she said, you can't control that. You did what we were commanded to do. Love your enemy. Help your enemy. Feed him if he needs food. Clothe him if he needs clothes. Was that man my enemy? No. But he certainly wasn't saved. I mean, I assume he wasn't. I don't know that for sure. He may have been. And he may have just been struggling and struggling and struggling. Sometimes that demon gets a hold to you, and it's very hard to get off of him. Very hard to get away from him. Especially if you have a propensity to that. And we all have people in our family that are. All right, let's continue, or we're never going to get done with this. Not that we're in a rush anyway. I never knew you. Now listen to this very carefully. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, done many wonders in your name? And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you practice lawlessness. You who practice lawlessness. I can't read that day. Can't get that word out. He's saying, oh yeah, you did all this stuff, but you weren't saved. You didn't believe on me. You ran around and told everybody you did. You ran around and you did all this stuff in my name. Jesus is King. Jesus is Lord. You did all this stuff. But in your heart, where the good fruit lives, is in here. You were self-righteous. You were doing all this stuff. But in here, where the good fruit is, you didn't know Jesus. Maybe you didn't read your Bible. Maybe you didn't pray. Maybe you did both of them and you just did it for show. Remember the Pharisees? All of it was for show. Jesus said, go into your quiet place and talk to the Father. Don't do it where other men can see you. Go spend your quiet time. Get in a quiet place. Meditate, pray, read your Bible. You know, we're having class right now. But in my private time with the Lord, it's quiet. I read, I pray, Is it easy to do it every day? No. And there are some days I don't do it. Really tired, whatever, is an excuse? Absolutely not. And I should be ashamed of myself. And I am. It's not good. Shouldn't be doing that. But he will declare to them, I never knew you. I don't know who you are. I know you said you know me, but I don't know you. How many of us have walked this? How many times have you had somebody from high school? It's been a long time since I've been in high school. They'll walk up to you and they'll go, hey man, what's going on? How you been? And I'm standing there looking at them like, I don't have a freaking clue who you are. Not a clue. Not a clue. Maybe I didn't know them in high school and they knew me or whatever. I don't know. You never know. But that's basically what he's telling you. Yeah, I understand you're telling me that you did all this stuff in my name, but I don't know who you are. You practiced lawlessness. You weren't saved, probably self-righteous. Anytime somebody's running around you telling you how good they are and how much they're doing and how much they're doing this and they're doing all this other stuff, I stand there with a whole lot of skepticism. Because I'm standing there looking at them going, well, you're a Pharisee to start with because all you want is self-adulation. You just want somebody to pat you on your back. I care about my wife's opinion, and I care about the Lord's opinion. That's pretty much it. And I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm really not. And those of you that are listening, please don't take it that way. 5 years ago, you probably wouldn't have liked me very much anyway. But whose opinion are you trying to gain? Are you standing with God or are you standing with the world? You got to pick one. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. I never knew you. Build on the rock. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. And it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. What is the rock? What is your basis of foundation? Faith. Rock solid, hard faith in the Father and in the Son. That's what it is. But anyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain descended, the floods came, the winds blew, beat on that house, and it fell. And great was its fall. They did everything you did. They didn't build their house on solid rock of faith. Is faith easy? No. It's not. But he never said it was going to be. Never said it was going to be. In your darkest days, you need to get in this word and stay in it. Jesus cleansed the leper. We're going into chapter 8, Matthew. When he had come down from the mountain, the great multitudes followed him. And behold, a leper came and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Then Jesus put out his hands and touched him, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. Immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said to him, see that you tell no one, but go your way, show yourself to the priests, and offer the gift that Moses commanded as a testimony to them. Jesus heals a centurion's servant. And I'm going to wrap back around to this. Give me 1 second. Now, when Jesus had entered Capernaum, the centurion came to him, pleading with him, saying, Lord, my servant is lying at home paralyzed and dreadfully tormented. And Jesus said to him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered, said, Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. But only speak a word, and my servant will be healed. For I also am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes, and to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to those who followed, As surely as I say to you, I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. And I say to you that many will come from east and west, and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into utter darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And to the centurion, go your way, as you have believed, so let it be done for you. And his servant was healed that same hour. Now, what did the leper and the centurion have in common? What did the man who had built his house on solid rock have in common? Faith. Unwavering faith. The centurion looked at him. Well, the leper looked at him and said, if it's your will, you can heal me. And he said, it is my will. You're healed. And immediately he was cleansed from a dreadful disease, by the way. The centurion walked up to him and he said, Lord, I'm not worthy that you even walk under there. You don't even need to walk to my house. I have such faith in you. If you just spoke the word, your servant is healed, or whatever the word was. You just speak the word, then my servant will be healed from right here. You don't even need to come to my house. That was faith. That was the faith he was looking at in the Israelites. He couldn't find it. He found out from a Roman. Now, when Jesus had come into Peter's house, he saw his mother lying sick with a fever. So he touched her hand, the fever left her, and she arose and served them. When evening had come, they had brought him to many who were demon-possessed. He cast out the spirits with a word and healed all those who were sick, that it might be fulfilled which has a spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, He himself took our infirmities and bore our sickness. Jesus took all that, took everything that we had, so that we would have a chance at salvation. Cost of discipleship. When Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave a command to depart to the other side. Then a certain scribe came and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And Jesus said to him, Foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Then another of his disciples said to him, Lord, let me first go and bury my father. But Jesus said to him, Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead. The cost of discipleship was everything. Jesus was the only thing you needed. Man does not live by bread alone. He's saying, look, let the dead bury their dead. Your father's dead. There's nothing you can do for him. Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. He's saying, look, come with me. You don't need anything else. Wind and waves obey Jesus. Now when he got into a boat, his disciples followed him, And suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea, so that the boat was covered with the waves. But he was asleep. Then his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. He said to them, Why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. So the men marveled, saying, Who can this be, and that even the winds and the sea obey him? So they're standing there, they're scared. This big storm's coming up over the sea. They're terrified. Matter of fact, we got a storm. If you can look out right there, we got a big storm coming right now. And they're like, oh my goodness, you need to save us. Like Jesus didn't know that the storm was coming. I mean, you know. But, I mean, I understand it. They're fearful. They're like, this big storm. We're in this little old boat. I don't know how big the ship was. So, but he's like, why do you have such little faith in me that I would let something happen to you? 2 demon-possessed men healed. When he had come to the other side, to the country of Gergesenes, not sure how to pronounce that, I apologize. There he met 2 demon-possessed men coming out of the tombs, exceedingly fierce, so that no one could pass that way. And suddenly they cried out, saying, What have we to do with you, Jesus, you Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before our time? What have we to do with you, Jesus, you Son of God? They even knew 2 demons that inhabited these human bodies running out, saw him, and they looked at him and said, oh, you're the Son of God. What do we have to do with you? Did you come to torment us before our time? So they knew they only had a short time, or they had a specific time that they were going to be allowed to do whatever they wanted to do. And when that time was up, it was up. They said, wait a minute, have you come to do this before our time is up? Have you come to torment us before then? Now remember, the Pharisees, Sadducees, and all these other people running around Jesus, he's doing all these miracles, he's saving these people, he's doing all this stuff. And they're like, yeah, I don't really believe he's the Son of God. I think he's full of crap. Yeah, he's not. No, we know better. We're smarter than him. He doesn't follow the law. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. He healed somebody on the Sabbath. But these 2 demons come running out of the tombs and immediately recognized him as the Son of God. He's standing there looking at them. And then they look at him and they go, did you come to torment us before our time? Before our appointed time of torment? Did you come to get us early? Now a good way off from them, let me start over. Sorry. Now a good way off from them, there was a herd of many swine feeding. So the demons begged him, saying, if you cast us out, permit us to go away into the herd of swine. So they were like, look, you're going to cast us out of these bodies. Allow us, not that they were just going to go do it, allow us to go into those pigs. And he said to them, go. So when they had come out, they went into the herd of swine, and suddenly the whole herd of swine ran violently down the steep place into the sea and perished in the water. So all the pigs drowned. Then those who kept them fled, and they went away into the city and told everything, including what had happened with the demon-possessed men. Now wait for it. Wait for it. These 2 demon-possessed men recognized him as the Son of God immediately. Like there was no, maybe, maybe not. No, that's the Son of God. Did you come to torment us before our time? Jesus said, nope. Go into the pigs. That's where you want to go, go. Now listen to this. So the shepherds watching them fled. They went away into the city and told everything, including what had happened with the 2 demon-possessed men. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus. Now this is the part that astounds me. And when they saw him, they begged him to depart from their region. That astounds me that you would do that. So you've got 2 demon-possessed men who apparently are running all over the place. They come out of the tombs, recognize Jesus as the Son of God, which apparently nobody else could even after all the miracles, or very few. But remember, few will find the narrow gate. So they run out, recognize him as the Son of God, go into the pigs. These people are standing here watching it. Pigs run off the cliff and drown. Shepherds go back and tell everybody, and they're like, hey, you know what? Can you go? Can you leave? Just go and leave us alone? We don't want you here anymore. We don't need you here. We don't want you here. They begged him to depart from their region. You just watched a man who was recognized as the Son of God. Now, maybe these people are a bunch of pagans. I don't know. I was trying to see if something was in here, if I'd missed something that, maybe these people were a bunch of pagans. I don't know. Apparently they were. But you watched this happen. They recognized him as the Son of God, and then you said, hey, can you leave? We beg you to leave. Please, please, please leave from our region. We don't want you here. So what did Jesus do? He got in the boat and crossed over. Came to his own city. Which, that part baffles me, that you're going to be sitting there, you're going to watch these miracles. He's recognized as the Son of God. You must be just a totally pagan region. I mean, just flat out. I don't know that for sure. I'm just, by what I'm reading here and what we're talking about, you just had to be straight up pagans. Worshiping the trees like the Druids. Something. I don't know. But you witness this man. He's recognized as the Son of God by these demons. You're going, hey, yeah, that's not going to work for me. Can you leave? We beg you to leave. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus. They should have been on their face begging him to save them. They should have been begging on their knees, please save us. Tell us what we need to do to be saved, because obviously we don't know. They begged him to depart from their region. How many of you are going to beg him to depart from you? How many of you are going to look at Jesus when somebody else recognizes him as the Son of God? And you go, yeah, maybe, maybe not. I don't know yet. Let me think about it. Or are you going to recognize him as the Son of God? Fall down on your knees before him and beg him to save your life? Or are you going to beg him to leave? Those are really your two options. Pray for the strength. Pray for the courage. Pray for Jesus to come to you. If you don't know him, find him. He is not hard to find. I mean, we've already read the first 8 chapters of Matthew. I've read them to you, word for word, from the New King James Version of the Bible. If you don't have a Bible, go to a Goodwill, a thrift store, find one. Heck, if you send me your address and you don't find you one, I will mail you one. How about that? Because I want you to know who he is. I want you to know him. Don't be standing on that day in judgment and he goes, I never knew you. I don't know who you are. Depart from me, you practicer of lawlessness. You did all that other stuff I didn't want you to do. Now you're going to tell me and stand here and tell, oh, Jesus, I did this in your name, I did this. No, you self-righteous. Get away from me. Ooh, that storm's coming. I'm going to jump off here. Y'all keep your head on a swivel. Please let Jesus guide your steps. Please let the Father in heaven guide what you are doing. Beg for him to come and sit at your table. Open the door, and he will come through. Y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you later.